day, sir.
Good day, sir. You all right?
I am all right. How are you?
Not too bad, thank you.
I'm so happy to hear that, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you guys, welcome to our cozy little corner, our conversation pit, our
Man cave.
man cave. I neglect that word, but yeah, our little cozy little nook. Yes,
Cave.
where we invite you every week to tag along to our conversations about literally everything that we find interesting.
Yeah, thoughts on things.
Thoughts on things, opinions, mostly about art, mental health and psychology.
Philosophy.
A lot of philosophy. So if that's, if those are topics that interest you, feel free to tag along every week with us at Don't Scream, I'll Cry, where hopefully you don't scream at us because we will start crying.
And the other way around, we don't scream, so you don't
start crying. All right?
It's just a mutual deal.
Mutual deal. So, if you're interested in hearing us yap, oh, by the way, for those of you who don't know, why would you? My name is Raphael.
I'm Dorian.
And we are a couple, and we are actors, trained actors, who also try to make a living outside of their projects because, if we're honest, it's difficult.
The creative industry is.
It's difficult. So,
it's a creative industry.
We will probably talk about that a lot. Maybe our drama school experiences.
Yeah.
Maybe how it is to try to make it in a career, but keep finding other jobs to make it work.
Yeah.
And all of that jazz. So, again, that's that.
Welcome to Don't Scream, I'll Cry.
Don't Scream, I'll Cry. Today's episode is going to be a specific one, a special one. We already start with a very special episode.
Yeah, that's very true.
Where we will mostly talk about mental health. This is not what the tone of the podcast is going to be every week. It is just, to tell you what it is actually about. Last year around that time, around September, October,
yeah.
As we are right now, we are currently in September, right?
Yeah, mid-September.
Mid-September.
Yeah.
Last year around that time, we were quite active on social media.
Yeah, we were going live on TikTok. We were quite interactive with you guys as well.
Yeah, and we just from one or the other day stopped. And for those of you who do know us, that came without an explanation. That was just from one or the other day, while we still had promised to do things
we were teasing a lot of things and that is still happening.
Yeah, no, see, the thing is, actually, we were even teasing this podcast.
Yeah, we didn't necessarily call it a podcast just yet.
We just said there's exciting things coming your way, but we never actually did it. And today's episode is going to be about why. Why did we suddenly need to disappear, step away from social media? And that has mostly to do with mental health.
Yeah.
Reasons.
So also, if you're not necessarily in a space where you do want to listen about anything to do with mental health, feel free to skip that episode and we'll welcome you next week.
Where we will invite you with more light-hearted topics.
Yeah.
So don't worry if you don't want to listen to this episode, you will not miss anything. Yeah. It's just an explanation about what happened in this
past year.
Yeah, and why we couldn't focus on anything really that is related to being in public and interacting with the outside world much. Yes, so as Dorian already said, kind of a trigger warning for you guys if you don't feel like you want to listen to mental health problems, specifically mental breakdowns, depressive episodes. Of course, we will not go into
too much detail,
but
it's still the topic.
We will be talking about that.
Yeah.
And of course, if there's anything that you can relate to in this episode, please do us a favor of reaching out to people, reaching out to friends, reaching out specifically also to doctors. There are people who want to help if you feel like you need the help. And
don't self-diagnose as well, even if you relate to some of the things that we're going to say here. Just consult it with a professional.
Yeah.
Basically.
That's about it, right?
That's about it. So let's start.
Okay, should we start at the very top?
Yeah, totally. So it was around the same time last year, so around October, more like maybe October, November last year, when we were not in the best place in general, but also financially. Yeah. And I remember us struggling a lot with money and also with finding a new job as well.
Yeah, I had just finished drama school.
Yeah.
So coming from a big financial debt because of that.
Yeah, no, exactly. and I was trying to find a job. I did have quite an extensive CV, and yet it was almost impossible. I remember applying to like hundreds, like tens, dozens, hundreds of jobs, and then not ever hearing back.
Which is weird. Like, you have been on a job hunt before.
Exactly.
And it was never that hard.
Exactly, and I do have experience in hospitality because that was the area I was looking for jobs in. Because of course, like as a struggling artist, you need to find yourself a day job, which is not ideal, but that's just what it is.
Yeah.
And I feel like I was aware that that's just what it is, and I'm usually not very picky, and I was not very picky at all by applying to all these jobs. It's just that I never heard back.
Yeah.
I think I had like 2 job interviews, but well, and then after weeks of trying, I remember I did get a job, and it just went downhill from there because, like I said, we were in quite a desperate need of income, and so I just took the first thing that came my way, and it was a very draining job, draining in terms of like my mental health, but also physically. It was draining mentally and physically.
And you're not the kind of person to not take a job or quit a job just because it's mentally and physically draining, especially because we're in such a pickle.
Yeah. We're in such a pickle.
Yeah, is that not how you say?
No, I think so. Yeah, it's just so sweet.
Yeah, you wouldn't just quit the job, but you ended up getting the job and quitting after 2 weeks.
I think I didn't even make 2 weeks. I think it was a week and a bit.
Yeah, because that was really
exhausting.
I've never seen you that exhausted. And that was already really weird to me because, of course, we were experiencing a rough patch and you not finding the motivation to get out of bed. It's not unusual.
Like it's not like it never happened before.
Yes. However, then you saying like, oh no, I cannot do this job because of the way the job was as well. Like, it was not the best job to be in.
But I was already in quite a fragile place in general.
Yeah, and I think that was maybe a nail to the coffin.
Yeah.
Maybe just the cherry on top.
Yeah.
Rather than the job made you spiral down, it was just you were spiraling already, and the job just accelerated that.
Yeah. And I did enter quite a bad depressive episode. Like you said, like it was hard to get out of bed. Nothing brought me joy. Do you know what I mean? Like, basically that. But yeah, what do we do in a situation like that? What do we do when we...
Are you supposed to do?
Yeah, what are we supposed to do when we feel depressed, when we feel like that? We hopefully reach out for help, and that's also what I did. And I remember having an appointment with my GP, telling him about all of this stuff, and I was put on an antidepressant because that's...
Can I just say?
Yeah.
Reaching out for help in a moment like that is very hard in general. And the way I know you, asking for help is never an option for you.
Yeah,
you're so focused on always mastering everything yourself and getting over everything yourself that I was really happy to see you reach out for help, go to a doctor, pursue help. And that was something that I was really happy about.
Yeah.
Because
you were very supportive of it as well. Like, I think you were the last push for me to actually go and get the help as well.
Yeah. I mean, if you love someone, you want them to get help. Like, you wanted them to get better. And
Yeah.
if you know, like, if you're in this situation yourself, you might not see that that's actually the best step to take, to actually pursue help.
Yeah.
While
because that takes effort and energy, the energy that I don't have to ask for help.
So that's why it is important maybe to have a person close to you who really cares for you, who says, no, maybe that's the way to go. Maybe you don't see that road, but I do, so I'll take you. Yeah,
of course. And of course, it was a hard time for me, but it was also a hard time for you. I feel like, or I can imagine, or I know that watching a loved one struggle this much also hurts you
100%.
Because you want them to thrive, and that's just the very opposite of it.
Yeah. But you ended up getting help.
I ended up getting help, and I ended up being put on an antidepressant. And I feel like that's where the chaos started, because within days, I went from being depressed to the very opposite. And I remember feeling on top of the world, like nothing could stop me. I had this energy in me that I would just wanting to put to everything productive. I started cleaning the house. I started working out 3 times a day.
Did you at that point think or consider that might be the antidepressants, or?
I think at the very beginning, because it didn't really start gradually. That's the thing. I don't know. I don't think I I gave it much thought because, of course, I was feeling so much better. So I wasn't even thinking about what caused it. I was just kind of enjoying what was happening in the moment.
So probably it was, at the very least, like, oh, they're working, I feel better.
Yeah, I feel better rather than working.
Rather than I experience new symptoms because of them, because
Yeah.
those are not symptoms.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like at the end of the day, like why would feeling good be bad?
Yeah.
Be a symptom of something.
Yeah.
And I was very active. I remember I started writing scripts, short stories. I started new projects. I did so much, and it felt like every single minute of my day was just filled with action, action, action. Do something, energy, and it felt great. It felt amazing. Like I said, I felt on top of the world.
It also looked amazing, I think.
Yeah.
To see you after such a low point, to see you actually look forward to something during the day, create again, find joy in creating again. That is something that I didn't take for granted. I was like, wow,
The method really working.
yeah, you're bettering, and that was so happy. That made me so happy. You know, so yeah.
Yeah, no, makes sense. And I feel like it was great for some time. And then over time, that state of euphoria turned into, with the same amount of energy, turned into irritability, turned into anger, anxiety. It felt like I was on edge the whole day. It just felt like the energy that I used to, like the past 2 weeks or so, I would tune into creativity, working out, which was also something that's so out of character for me. Like I was never a gym bro. I was never a big person who's big on workout, you know, and then suddenly I'm working out 3 times a day. But, you know, that to the side, I went from this to just being anxious about everything to being very, very irritable, very, very angry. And I'm not the kind of person who also gets angry a lot.
So like all the energy stayed the same. It just
tuned
targeted
into something different.
Else. Yeah. I mean, you working out, right? Let's stay there for a second. You working out, again, yes, it was out of character, but still I wouldn't have thought that this is weird. People start new things. People start working out.
Yeah.
And especially because I knew that you were so eager to try new things or to try out things in general right now. I thought, yeah, good for you. I think I have to say at this point as well that I was not in Scotland. We live in Scotland together, and during that time I was in Germany.
What were you doing in Germany?
I was shooting a series.
What series were you shooting?
It's a German television show. Yeah.
Okay, so you're an actor.
I am an actor. I am. Yes.
How cool!
That is quite cool. Yes, and I got a part in a German television show. 2 parts in 2 separate television shows, and because of that, the whole November, the whole November, I was basically in Germany.
Yeah. So when all of that was happening,
exactly,
you were not there.
I was not there. So all the exciting new things that you were telling me about, I only knew over the phone. You told me at the end of the day when I asked you, hey, how was your day? What did you do? You would just tell me, oh, I did this, I did this, I did this.
Yeah.
And after having left you in like a state where I was like, oh, do I want to leave you? You know, but then I have the job, I don't know what to do and stuff. To see you thrive when you're on your own, that was the best feeling. Like I felt like, okay, great. I can actually lean back. He's great. He's doing good. It's all over. And you telling me that you started working out made me really happy because you found something where you can put all your energy physically into. So that was great. It was only when I came back to Scotland when I realized how big the effects of working out actually were. Now, what I mean with the effects of working out is
that you came home and I was buff.
No. No, you had not been working out that long. It was just a month.
All right, then.
It doesn't happen that quick. However, what I meant with that is I hadn't realized how much you were working out.
Yeah.
And that's out of character. Like picking up a new hobby is one thing, but like picking up a new hobby and then pursuing it 3 times a day. It's a lot.
It was quite obsessive.
And I remember coming back, and generally there's just me coming back was very funny because for the first time I experienced all of these things not from you telling it, but
you were actually there.
experiencing them. And I remember the day I came.
Yeah, I picked you up from the airport.
You picked me up from the airport, and we were so happy to see each other again. Hug, hug, kiss, kiss, kiss. You know,
Yeah.
and the whole ride home, you did not stop talking, and you were telling me about so many things, and it was really difficult to follow you as well
Yeah.
because you had 1,000 thoughts at the same time.
Yeah.
It felt like you suddenly had ADHD on steroids.
Yeah, that's how it felt like.
Yeah.
It felt like my brain was just so busy.
Yeah, and you
with
don't have ADHD, just to clarify that.
Yeah, I don't have ADHD. It did feel like I was thinking 10 thoughts at the same time, and I was trying to express at least half of them to you.
Yeah.
And then it was just all that babble and just...
And also, you talk very fast as well, which
Yeah.
I don't mind. I can listen to you when you talk quickly.
Yeah.
It was just a lot. And I
Yeah.
remember when we entered the house, I actually stopped you and said, did you notice that I haven't said anything
Since we entered the house, I remember.
since the airport? And we just laughed about it because it's just funny. Like,
Yeah.
it was also not weird because we haven't seen each other so long. It makes sense that you have things to tell me or that you're
Yeah.
excited. And I was excited too,
Yeah.
you know? So it was also not weird for me. It was just a funny side note that
Yeah.
you've been talking this whole time. I mean, I liked it. I loved it.
Yeah.
I got my little Dorian podcast. But just to make you aware.
Yeah.
So that was that. And apart from this, I also got to witness you working out.
Yeah.
And that was just 3 times a day, every day without a break. And I
Yeah.
even asked you, like, what about rest days? I don't need rest days.
I did say that.
Like,
I did say that.
everyone needs rest days, but you don't.
Yeah, that's embarrassing. I did say that. I really thought that I don't need them. I'm too good for that.
I mean, okay. You can think that, right?
I don't think that anymore.
It was also after I arrived.
Like, I think early on after you arrived, like I said, it started turning into this, my being on edge.
All the energy into productive things versus all the energy into, well,
Anger.
anger and irritability and everything. And that's suddenly when all the fun parts were not so fun anymore.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
fun parts about having so much energy
Yeah.
were not so fun anymore.
Exactly, because like I said, it turned more into anxiety, this kind of both fear and anger, and I remember feeling very isolated with it because it felt like I started getting quite paranoid as well. It almost felt like it's me against the world. It felt like everywhere that there's something bad happening, and of course, bad happening, not necessarily bad as in unfortunate, but bad as in there's something that causes this my immediate reaction to be anger. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I don't know, like dropping things would be so much more frustrating to me than they would be if I wasn't in that state of heightened energy.
And that was weird because as we're talking about things that are out of character, that was one of the things.
Yeah.
You don't get frustrated with yourself very quickly. You
Yeah.
don't get angry very quickly. That's not your default response when I do something that annoys you or something.
Yeah.
You just point it out before you get angry.
Yeah.
I would need to do this very thing 5 times before you actually get angry.
Yeah.
But it felt like your default reactions and emotions just changed. And I remember one time that was, I think, also a turning point for us in that topic, where we had a bigger argument. And we're not that kind of couple that is going to sit here and tell you guys that we're never arguing.
Yeah,
That's not true.
Yeah.
We are very much healthy arguers.
Yeah, we are very good at communicating. We're very good at arguments.
At least we're trying.
Yeah,
At least we're
yeah.
trying to meet in the middle, try to actually find out, okay, what is the conflict now? And
Exactly.
it always feels like it's us against the argument rather than
Us against each other.
exactly, I have to
Yeah.
prove my point, I have to prove that he's right.
Yeah.
Oh lol, that I'm right. I have to imagine what an argument.
What on codependency?
No, you're right.
No, you're
I
right,
was
I'm
being
wrong.
mean. No, rather than trying to prove our own point and trying to make the other person feel bad for whatever happened,
Yeah.
it is mostly about, okay, right, I have my point of view, you have your point of view, how do we solve this? How do
Yeah.
we find a common ground? Sometimes we don't find a common ground, and then we just try to discuss it and communicate it until
Yeah.
we actually find one.
Yeah.
And I do have to say that in our relationship, but also as people, I can only speak for myself, as a person,
Yeah.
I grew a lot because of that.
Yeah, no, me too.
Like, you taught me so much about just conflict and
Yeah.
resolving conflict and reconciliation
Yeah.
and forgiving.
Yeah, and I can only say the same thing. For me, it was also getting used to conflict, being safe and feeling safe within a conflict.
Right, I
trusting
remember.
the other person that this conflict's not going to ruin anything. You're not
Yeah.
just going to leave me because of this one conflict. And that was definitely something I had to learn, and that I did learn. But of course, in that time, it was completely different.
Yeah, because that's also how we realized that this argument was different.
Yeah,
Because we had that foundation before.
Yeah.
Because we knew how we normally argue. We had one argument that was just not that. And it was so the opposite of productive.
yeah. It escalated really quickly as well.
Yes, and you started raising your voice, which is something just we don't do.
Yeah,
Not because we don't like raising our voice, but because early on in our relationship, you just asked me to, if I have a problem or something, just I can communicate that without screaming.
yeah, yeah. Don't
And-
scream, I'll cry.
Yeah, literally. So you asked me to mind that, and
Yeah.
then I learned to, when I'm angry,
Yeah,
not scream at you.
yeah,
Because before you, I did that a lot.
yeah, yeah.
I'm not afraid of screaming, and I'm not afraid of being screamed at all.
And I feel like that's a healthy approach.
Well, yeah, I think so. I think so. It feels quite healthy because whenever I'm in a heated argument with someone and it gets loud and we scream,
Yeah.
it feels so passionate. It feels so
Productive.
It can be. I think it can be productive, but I see why
Yeah.
some people say, "Hey, I cannot have a productive argument when someone's screaming at me because I cannot focus, or I think that's unnecessary and
Or I
stuff."
feel unsafe. Like I remember,
Exactly.
especially at the beginning, like I would feel unsafe whenever an argument would
Yeah.
escalate.
And I think that was the difference between us.
Yeah.
Because in my family life, screaming and being screamed at never meant you were unsafe. And yeah.
And I think that's what I meant when I said that that's healthy.
Also, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, lol. Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
So we deleted that from our relationship very early on.
Yeah.
No screaming.
Yeah, yeah.
So it is even weirder with that context that in that one argument, not only did we go to screaming from 0 to 1 immediately, but you were the one who initiated it.
Yeah, I was the one who started being loud.
And raising your voice very quickly and loudly, and it confused me.
Yeah.
Because I was like, okay, that's new, but two can play that game.
Yeah.
So we started screaming at each other, trying to fight our points. And then very quickly, I realized, no, this is not going anywhere. Like,
Yeah.
we're both just really trying to convince the other that they're wrong, which is, again, something that doesn't get you anywhere.
Yeah.
And we're screaming on top of our lungs.
Yeah.
And we don't even find a common ground.
Because what was the problem with it was that the argument felt like we lived in different realities. Like we had completely different perceptions of what happened. That was the problem. And
Which is what I think made it so unproductive.
yeah,
Because usually you can agree that a situation that you didn't appreciate happened,
yeah,
and then you discuss why you didn't appreciate it, why you
Yeah.
didn't appreciate why your partner did that or this or didn't do that or this,
Yeah.
And that's normally a problem that you can fight.
Yeah.
Because you can make the other person understand why you didn't like it or why you would prefer
Yeah.
them doing another thing. However, the very point of this argument, this specific argument, was this and that never happened.
yeah,
It felt like you said we were living different realities. You were pointing out that I had been during that day, really disrespectful to you
Yeah.
and arrogant and patronizing the whole day. And I was trying to convince you that I wasn't. I don't know where you had this from. I was literally normal to you. I couldn't even understand the examples you gave me.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I've never said these things, and it just felt like we were both mutually gaslighting ourselves,
Yeah,
each other.
yeah,
I was saying that never happened, and you said, but it did happen,
Yeah.
while I believed it didn't.
yeah,
And that's why it was so unproductive, because we couldn't even agree to the reality to then further discuss the reality and
Yeah.
try to find a solution. But how can you find a solution if you don't even agree on
Yeah.
what happened?
yeah,
So that's why at some point I just said, you know what, this is not going anywhere. We're just screaming at each other. Let me just go.
Yeah.
And with go, I mean leave the room and go to another room.
yeah,
I basically thought, okay, I need to cool off, you need to cool off. Let's
Yeah.
both cool off and find back to each other when we are maybe not too emotionally involved anymore, so we can actually talk about this like adults,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. And I remember I followed you to the room. Like I didn't take no for an answer. I remember I really wanted to solve the problem right that second, and that was just quite intrusive, you know, like I just followed
Yeah.
you into the room, and I remember I still was raising my voice, and I was clearly, I was in distress. And just after some time, I followed you into the room, and very early on, I imploded.
Yeah, that's actually a really good word for it. It felt like this whole time you were exploding, you were arguing, also with unfair means. Like you were very attacking, which is also something that we don't do in our relationship. Like we don't attack the other person, even if we think we're in the right, because there's no need. Again, you are together in this. Even when you argue, you are together. And you were so like exploding, and suddenly you just imploded and focused that all that negative energy, instead of outward, focused it inward.
Yeah.
And that's when
And
you had the breakdown.
Yeah, that's where I had the breakdown. I started attacking myself. I started hurting myself.
So breakdown in the very sense of the word.
Yeah. And I don't fully remember exactly what happened there.
Yeah.
Like it's still a little bit of a blank.
Fair enough.
Spot there.
Well, what I can say is that you started attacking yourself, and in my brain needed to switch very quickly from I'm so mad at this person, I'm so angry at this person, suddenly switch to oh my god, he needs help. And that is such a weird switch from anger to care, because I feel like they're opposing. Or they felt opposing in that moment at least. But I switched to that, and I was trying to stop you from hitting yourself, and it was quite difficult because you were so focused on, I don't know, punishing yourself for your reaction or whatever it was.
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to tell you even now because it happened from one second to another.
Yeah, and I stopped you, and you actually got to stop. And then I talked at you because it didn't feel like I was talking with you because you were zoned out after you stopped. And then I thought, okay, I'm pulling you out while talking at you, but then you just started again. And then I needed to stop you again. And then after I stopped you and you stopped again, pulled you out, and then you started again. So in total, it was 3 times of us having a physical altercation, which is something that you just don't want to have in a relationship. But I knew that you needed help, and that's not you, and it was really new. So I actually got you to stop fully and tried to get you back. And then you just came back and went to work.
And I went to work. And I was like 2 minutes late, I remember. And I just had a normal shift. As every
Talk
other
about
shift
not being
before.
able to tell what goes on in a person's life.
That's true.
Talk about not knowing how bad of a day a person actually has. They might have literally just had a mental breakdown 2 minutes before coming into this shift.
And then of course in front of the customers or even in front of colleagues, you know, put on a smile and keep going. And I remember even before I went, I asked you to cover up the scratch marks I had on my body.
It's a very bizarre moment. A really surreal moment. And I told you, like, maybe don't go to work. Maybe it's not a good idea to go to work. And but you insisted, maybe because you wanted to feel like it's still a normal day and this is not as special of a day. Maybe to convince you that what happened wasn't that scary. I don't know.
I also wouldn't be able to tell you. Like I said, that this day is, or this argument, this moment is very hazy to me.
But
I kind of see it like through
we ended up
through fog.
We ended up covering your scratch marks with makeup, and then you were off to work. But we're telling that because, as scary as it was definitely a turning point. Because
It was,
I don't know if it was definitely a turning point because that was not normal. Like it was not you, and that's when I realized, okay, you need more help than we thought. To this day, I regret not calling for help immediately. I don't know why, but in that moment I was so focused on just trying to get you out of this that I didn't even consider that there are people you can call.
I think that's understandable though.
I was.
You're so in the moment, like you're taking care of the immediate danger.
I was so worried about you.
And I was a danger to myself, so you know.
And I was so worried about you, and I didn't understand what was going on, that my brain didn't even go to, hey, you could theoretically pick up the phone, call an ambulance, and maybe people would, I don't know, take you to hospital and you would get the proper care.
Yeah.
But I was so focused on, okay, no, you have to just end this first. Like, calm him down first. You got this, kind of.
And also because you were capable to do that.
Yeah, and I think that's the problem. Because, now hear me out, I think people who are not a very tall, very muscular, 6'5" man might be often, and I say might be because that's just my theory, often misdiagnosed or undiagnosed because they don't pose as much of a threat as said muscular 6'5" man would. I didn't call help because it felt like I can still take care of this situation. I can still take care of you, which in retrospective was not the case. If someone has a mental break, then you're not a psychologist. And even if you are, you're not their psychologist or psychiatrist. You cannot take care of this. So involve
especially because it's also hard on you. You know, like it's the responsibility that you do not need to carry. But you
cannot
upon
carry.
yourself, or you cannot carry, exactly.
But yeah, I put it on myself. And if I would have felt a bit more threatened, just by your size, if you were bigger, I would have, I think, called the authorities because I would have felt in danger. But I didn't, because I knew that if worse comes to worse, I can stop you from hurting yourself because I'm a bit stronger than you. And I think that's really unfair. If we think about it, there's a discrimination behind that, definitely, where just because someone is smaller doesn't mean that they're not suffering as much, doesn't mean that they don't need the help as much as someone who is more of a danger to others. And that's why I really wrote down at the back of my head, no, it doesn't matter, just get help. Just get help. Because we later found out that if I would have called help in that moment and they would have taken you to a hospital, you would have gotten the help that you needed much sooner. And the following months that were even more confusing would have not have happened.
That's true, but I don't think you should feel guilty for that. I
still kind of do, but I also understand why I didn't. Because it just didn't come to my head.
Yeah, of course, like you are in this heated moment and you need to take care of what's happening in
right
front
now,
of you. Of course, that's understandable. And because you can, like you said, because you can deal with it in the moment, you just do it. You just do it. Like you need to think on the spot and you just action.
But anyway,
afterwards, still, when we like both cooled off, like
you came home from work, and then I told you, do you agree that was not not you? That's really new, and I think you need more help or different kind of help. Maybe the antidepressants are not cutting it. Maybe you need to consult with a psychologist, psychiatrist. I don't know, but and you agreed.
And I did agree.
Really relieved about.
Yeah, because especially after I had a little break from the situation and I came home from work, so I had my distraction. Like I also saw how, like I said, as much as I don't remember what was happening exactly, like I knew that it was not normal. It was out of the ordinary. It was not every other argument. It was the first and only time
where this happened.
Where
we had a physical altercation.
Yeah. And of course, I was not attacking you.
No, you were not. But it ended up being because I needed to, like, it needed to get physical. I couldn't stop you by saying, "Hey, stop hitting you." I needed to stop you hitting yourself.
Yeah. And you put yourself in like in potential danger as well. But and I remember we had the conversation, and after that we both decided that I should see my doctor again. And I did. And I remember I told him about everything that's been going on from the very start of me starting to take the antidepressants, how I thought that they were working, how I felt so great about myself. I had this like euphoric mood for a couple of weeks, how I felt unstoppable, and how it then went into this anger, this uncontrollable anger towards myself and the world, how isolating it felt as well, because it felt like no one understood what was going on inside my head. And I spoke to my doctor, and he asked me, have you ever thought that you might have bipolar? And to that, the answer is I did and I didn't. That's actually quite a funny story, because for the longest time, I thought that what I'm going through, because of course, like for years I've noticed patterns in my mood and patterns in my behavior and all sorts of stuff. I knew that this looks like bipolar symptoms, but I thought, of course, I don't have bipolar, so I'm not going to mention it to anyone. So like even when I would be confronted with a mental health context, like I would be seeing a mental health professional, I would always not mention certain things so it doesn't sound like I have bipolar, because I don't have bipolar, so why would I make it sound like it? Which, when you think of it, is such a meta, weird concept.
Yeah, no, you were basically thinking that you were smarter than psychologists.
Yeah.
And to try to not have them to diagnose you with bipolar disorder, because you definitely don't have bipolar disorder,
Exactly.
you would know it.
Exactly.
You try to filter your answers so they wouldn't
Yeah.
think you have bipolar disorder.
Because I don't.
Because you don't.
Exactly. I don't know where I took this truth from.
Yeah.
That I don't have bipolar disorder. Like, it was just a belief I had. I just don't. So
Yeah.
I need to act accordingly.
Yeah.
But yeah, of course, after that, I also told my doctor about that, and he started asking follow-up questions. He was asking about any weird beliefs that I would have, and I also did admit that there were periods in my life where I truly believed that I was God. And that it started when I was 16 years old. That was the first time it happened. And I remember I mentioned it to a friend of mine, and she just laughed it off, which, bless her, not her fault. We were both 16 years old. Like, she did not have any malicious intentions, but she was like, sure you do, sure you are. So,
which is a reaction that you understand coming from a 16-year-old.
yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. So because of that, I never actually mentioned that to anyone. Also, again, exactly. Also because whenever I would feel that way, I would also have a certain amount of anxiety about what if I do tell people and they're trying to go after me because I'm God, because I am almighty, and they just want to sabotage me. So it went deeper than that. But I also experienced a lot of other things, like hearing voices that aren't there.
You never considered that is a symptom.
See, I don't think so. I would just think that I misheard something, because it would happen usually when I would be around people. So I'm at work or something, I hear someone shout my name and be like, oh, excuse me, sorry, asking me for help. Sometimes not even to do anything with work, sometimes just screaming for help. And I would turn around and no one would be there, so I'd be like, oh, yeah, I heard something again, not a biggie. And I ended up telling my doctor all these things. Or, for example, the feeling that I had that everyone around me hates me, which was also what the argument started off with, the big argument we had. That was also kind of triggered by the thought, oh, you must hate me. I need to protect myself and defend myself. So I went into this attack.
I find it fascinating that you told him that you experience all these things, knowing that you experience all these things, and never considered that they're symptoms of anything. I just think it goes to show that whenever we see a person that has mental health issues, experiences hallucinations, or experiences symptoms of bipolar disorder, we see it so stylized in the media, in films, in other works, that we always assume, I'm not experiencing that, because that would be much crazier.
Yeah, that it has to be a certain way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, for example, I thought that only people who have schizophrenia experience psychosis, meaning hallucinations. And I didn't know that other mental illnesses also have psychoses, or that hallucinations also can happen to other people.
Yeah, psychosis can also be a standalone diagnosis, not as an illness, but as a state.
Yeah, but because you never see that in movies, and most of my education about mental health comes from movies and shows, or like people I know who know people who know people, right?
I mean, you also did have psychology, and you were really good at it.
I mean, yeah, I studied psychology, but in high school.
Yeah.
I didn't study psychology.
No, I just want to say, because you said that your only knowledge about psychology is from TV and media.
Let's just say I know a bit more about psychology than the average person, because I had it as a subject in high school.
Yeah.
I even graduated with it.
Nice.
But apart from that, I didn't know, for example, that in the end you don't know how it actually looks or how it feels.
Yeah.
Hearing voices is always so stylized that you sometimes don't clock when it actually happens to you.
It's similar with visual hallucinations, that like seeing shadow people with the corner of your eye, that is still a hallucination. That's also something I experienced. But of course it was never serious enough, because I didn't actually see people that weren't there.
Very detailed.
Very detailed, but I did see shadow people, or I did see something with the corner of my eye, or I do see slight shapes of faces, you know, when I look around. But it's never as serious as you would expect it to be.
Well, in the movies, it's full on flashed out moments that are so realistic.
And it can be.
Yeah, no, of course,
Yeah.
it can happen to some people, but it also can be something else.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's why I think maybe you would have gotten help earlier if you would have really understood that.
Yeah.
What you're experiencing since you were 16 are grandiose delusions, are hallucinations, are paranoia.
Is psychosis.
Is psychosis.
Yeah.
And yeah.
And only talking to my doctor about it,
Yeah.
like only that kind of brought me to realize.
The reason actually he started asking about if you think that you might have bipolar disorder was because it apparently is really, really usual and normal for people who have bipolar disorder who are undiagnosed, when they're being put on antidepressants, that they actually get a manic episode.
Yeah, that's also something that my doctor said to me.
So
exactly.
That's why he was thinking, okay,
that is
probably how it progressed.
Yeah.
Like it feels so simple. If you want to find out if someone has bipolar disorder, see how they react on antidepressants. Yes.
Yeah.
But because he didn't know that you might have bipolar disorder, because he had no reason to think,
of course,
he put you on antidepressants.
Which in general, I think it's a loophole in the system.
Right.
I feel like if someone comes to their doctor and says that they are experiencing symptoms of depression, I think it should be that the doctor will ask, okay, how about the other side of things? How about, do you also experience this euphoria? Do you have periods of time where you don't sleep? That's also something I had. I wouldn't be able to not sleep for days when I was in this euphoric state.
Right. You slept for 3 hours and then you started working out.
Exactly. Or like 3 a.m, I'm starting to clean my house.
Yeah, and that is something that you would do in mania.
Yeah, exactly. And so, yeah. And I was then put on the waiting list to see a psychiatrist because, of course, my doctor and my GP wasn't able to give me an actual diagnosis. He could only say, okay, have you ever thought about it? I see connections. I think that's something that, you know, read up on it.
Someone who specialized in this topic should look into this.
Yeah.
I will forward you to a psychiatrist.
Exactly. And I feel like the whole story of how it went with a psychiatrist and everything, it's a whole separate story.
Oh yeah, it is. It is definitely a topic for another
episode.
How we actually went about getting your diagnosis, trying to get your diagnosis, and how the NHS handled that.
Yeah, and maybe let us know if you're interested in it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Because that's definitely something that is a standalone story, and there was a lot of disappointment and a lot of being mistreated and
back and forth.
Exactly.
In such a confusing time in general.
Yeah, because while that was happening, I was still in an episode, and I was 100%. Still struggling, I was still suffering, and so were you. You know, because you're my closest person, of course, that also had an effect on you, and a huge one as well.
Yeah. So after your doctor put you on the waiting list to see a psychiatrist.
Yeah.
That, of course, took months until you were actually seen by a professional.
Yeah.
And these months were really confusing. It was already a bit satisfying to hear, okay, there is a theory.
Yeah.
It could be bipolar disorder.
Yeah.
But we didn't know. It wasn't sure.
Yeah.
So these months that followed, 6 months, I think.
Yeah.
We were like, okay, it might be bipolar. You're not getting the help that you need.
Yeah.
While we know that you clearly do need help, but the help that you're getting is literally just waiting.
Yeah.
For
and it has to wait.
And we have to wait. And we know that there are meds. We know that there is therapy that you would have to do, but we didn't have access to that because you didn't have your diagnosis yet.
Exactly, yeah.
And that was, oh my God, that was such a straining time, and I cannot even decide if it was easier before we suspected it was bipolar disorder or after we suspected it was bipolar disorder, but while being frustrated that we don't get the help that you need because you still experience manic episodes, or maybe hypomanic episodes, or maybe mixed episodes, or maybe...
What is going on?
Yes, what's going on?
What is going on?
And we didn't know, I didn't know how to help you. You couldn't help yourself. And we were basically in these 6 months trying to manage
everything was very, very confusing.
Yeah, and it was up and down. And during that time, I also got Lady Grace, which is such a big thing to happen in a life anyway, in a relationship anyway. It changes how we go about things. It changes.
What do you mean for people who don't know?
I got I got cast in a show called The Lady Grace Mysteries. and I needed to leave the country, go to Brussels, go to England, to shoot for 2 months, and it was in total 3 months of work. And so I was also not there for you. We had just moved to a different city as well, and you didn't know anyone in this city.
Exactly. So I was by myself in a city where I don't know anyone in an unfurnished flat.
Yes, and your partner is not only not there, but is so far away.
And it's also not available. Like if you were far away but available, it would also be different. But you were working for 10 hours a day.
Yeah.
So
more than that even.
Exactly.
Yeah. But like the reason we point out that we moved, it might be a bit easier if you even have friends, a support system around that could catch you in case something.
Yeah.
Or be in a furnished flat, because oh my God, being in an unfurnished flat and not being able to afford furniture is something that I think we would be able to deal with.
Yeah.
Like we've had worse, I think.
Yeah, of course.
Just having a roof over our head and not having a mattress and not having a table to eat on or not having chairs is something that you can survive as a relationship, and you just build from there.
And you're in this together at the end of the day.
Right. However, I was not there.
Yeah.
You didn't know anyone in this city, and it was 3 months until you knew, okay, we can afford a bed, we can afford a table, chairs, and I think every person who doesn't have a mental health problem would feel so left alone, encased by these white walls, and nothing's in here, and there was even still a reverb.
Yeah, and because there was nothing in the rooms.
And it just does something to you. I'm just saying, it's not horrible. That's not what I'm saying. It's not horrible, the situation, like, not at all.
Yeah.
However, it does something to you. It adds to the feeling of being alone, left alone, by the system, by your partner who had to go to work, by your friends because you left them all in Edinburgh. And we moved to a different city. And it was just all so new. And I totally get it, why it was so hard, like on top of everything, to just try to pretend everything's normal. And at some point, I came back from shooting Lady Grace.
Yeah.
And we had each other again.
Yeah.
And not that everything was easy, like dealing with a
potential. But it also aligned with me getting a final diagnosis.
Yes. And it just all came together, and it all turned out okay around the same time.
Yeah.
So you eventually had your appointment with your psychiatrist and finally got the diagnosis, which is
bipolar 1 disorder.
Bipolar 1 disorder.
With psychotic features.
With psychotic features. You got an upgrade.
I got an upgrade. Bipolar 1 disorder with psychotic features.
Yeah. Like an add-on. Did you pay extra for that?
Yeah, I paid in suffering.
Oh God. Oh God. Yeah. So that, and we needed in these 6 months to learn what is bipolar.
Yeah.
How does it look in different people? What versions, as we just said, do exist? Like there's bipolar 1 disorder, and then there's bipolar 2 disorder, and there are other mood influencing disorders.
Yeah.
And trying to find, okay, what does bipolar disorder mean, but also what does bipolar disorder mean for you? How do you experience it? And how do we now go about it? What are the symptoms? What are the tells?
Exactly, but also going back in time and realising previous episodes as well, because that's something that was very eye-opening, because like I said, for the first time I experienced these grandiose delusions of being God. That was when I was 16, and that was also around the time I showed other symptoms of bipolar disorder and other symptoms of mania. And then it happened again when I was 19 and then 22. And
isn't it weird to, after you have a diagnosis, look back at your life trying to play detective?
Exactly.
And finding, okay, why did I do this? Was this maybe an episode of this? Was this an episode of this? Did I experience hallucinations there?
Exactly. I think a bid one.
I
thong the bid one. God, the words are just not coming out of my mouth. I think the big one was that in 2022 I just moved to Paris, for example. I moved to a different country without having any money, without having a place to stay, without knowing anyone there. But I think, and I just packed up and moved to a different country.
I remember that was exactly the time we got to know each other.
Yeah.
That's the time we met, 2021?
2022.
2022, yes, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, babe. No, 2022. Just got my years mixed up.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember when I just started to get to know you, of course, I wasn't able to tell, oh, that's out of character, because I don't know your character
met me
yet.
like that.
Yes, I met you like that. And I met you thinking, he's a very risky person.
Yeah.
He's very cutthroat.
Yeah.
But later I found out you're not that risky when it comes to literally, do I have a roof over my head in a foreign country where I don't speak the language of?
Yeah.
Like, that's something you wouldn't do.
Yeah.
However, that's something you did, and that was probably done in a manic episode.
Yeah, and it was also not the only risky decision I took in that time. I remember spending loads of money. I remember taking loans and showing all sorts of other symptoms. And of course, this euphoria was there and this lack of sleep was there. So it's not only that, oh, I make one risky decision, oh, the person probably has bipolar disorder. There's so much more to that.
Yeah, yeah. And you just, one day you just sold everything that you had in Edinburgh.
Yeah.
And you enrolled in a school to do your master's degree. You had just finished your bachelor's degree and you wanted to do your master's. So there was also a justification. It was not just like Paris for no reason, because I want to live the French life. It was, no, I want to pursue a master's degree, so it made sense.
It made sense.
The only thing that didn't make sense to me was when you told me, hey, I want to do my master's. I was like, oh my God, so cool that you want to do your master's. Then you said, hey, I'm moving in 2 days and I don't even have a flat yet. I was like, what? No?
Yeah, and my only response to that was, it's going to be fine in the end.
Yeah.
It's going to work out for me.
You said it's going to work out in the end. It always does.
Yeah, I genuinely believed that everything would work out for me in the end. That nothing bad could happen to me.
That's also what you said to me. You said it always works out. And I remember thinking, wow, you're risky, but I wish I had that opportunism? No. What's that called?
You would have that quality.
No. Instead of
trait.
Pessimistic, optimistic. I wish I was that optimistic.
Yeah.
To think, oh, it's going to work out anyway. Now looking back, that was reckless.
Yeah, it was not just impulsive.
Because you didn't have a job, you didn't have a roof over your head, you don't speak the language.
Yeah.
How on earth do you think you're going to get the flat?
Yeah,
but the worst part about this, you actually got a flat.
I did. I had a hostel booked for one night, and I needed to book another night when I was already there. And then I got my own flat on the third day.
An actual flat in this economy, with our living crisis going on. You actually got a flat.
I did.
After 2 days.
I did.
This doesn't happen, and this just fueled the delusions.
It just fueled the delusions, exactly. And after that, when I actually found myself alone in Paris, not being able to make any friends, also having a bunch of other issues to deal with, I just crashed.
Yeah.
I just crashed and I went straight into depression.
Yeah, not unusual for your manic episodes to crash immediately after. I don't know how it is for other people, but we've seen that happening already.
Yeah.
So it is kind of bizarre to just look back at our relationship, or for you even more, look back at your whole life and trying to play detective.
Yeah.
Did we really have an argument there, or was that just a manic episode and delusions speaking out of you?
Mm-hmm.
But I think there's no point in obsessing over that.
Yeah, that's true.
Because in the end, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it happened.
It happened. We lived through it. We're happy.
Yeah.
And what matters most now is recognizing these moments when they happen.
Mm-hmm.
Because yes, you're medicated. Yes, you have a psychiatrist now.
Mm-hmm.
But a manic episode or another episode is most definitely going to happen again.
Yeah, the chance of relapse is 100%.
Yeah, and that's just something that comes with disorder, and that is something we can accept and
learn to deal with. Yeah, just as much for me as for you as well too.
But I do have to say, knowing that it is bipolar disorder, having that definitely, it scares me so much less.
Yeah.
It doesn't scare me at all anymore.
Yeah.
I'm not scared. I'm worried, of course, if something's going to happen to you. I'm worried about you. Yeah. But I'm not scared of what it is that changed you so much. I think what was really my biggest problem with it, if I even dare to have a problem with it, is it's literally your mental health.
Yeah, of course, but it has a direct impact on you.
It does have an effect on me. But the thing that just confused me most, what affected me most, is from one or the other day, you were just a different person. And it felt like you were literally slipping through my fingers. I couldn't grasp you anymore. I kept saying that to you as well. That when we argued and we didn't know it was bipolar disorder, that I said, I don't know what is up, that I cannot grasp you anymore. I don't understand you. I don't understand your point of view. I cannot find a middle ground because I don't find you in the middle. You're not there. And you didn't know what I was talking about, what I meant, and I also couldn't pinpoint it.
To me, it felt like I was just myself. Like there was nothing odd about my behavior. Like everything felt very truthful to myself. Even more, I felt like I'm finally living my true self. Like I'm finally living
who you really are.
Who I really am, yeah.
In inverted commas.
Which
that's the mania.
Crazy
speaking.
when you think about it.
I wouldn't say crazy, but very out of character, and that's just the mania lying to you.
Yeah, that's true. But for me, it was also much easier. Like when I got the diagnosis, I think it just finally things started making sense and falling into place. I think, especially going back and understanding the past things I've done, and tracking back the episodes, also recognizing the current episode as well. That was such a relief because even though it's a big one to deal with, it feels like now at least I know what I need to deal with.
100%, and you know what to look out for. And that's literally the point I'm making is it's not unknown. And not knowing what's going on with you, why you're suddenly the way you are, and why I cannot find you anymore, why I really don't like how you behave from one or the other moment. Like you're asking yourself, okay, either he has bipolar disorder, like the doctor said, or you just are a mean person now, or you're just an asshole now. And I needed to consider this very real fact that you just changed. What if it's not bipolar? And that scared me so much, because I don't think I would know how to deal with that then. Like if we cannot find.
Where's the person you fell in love with?
Yes, I couldn't find you anymore. But when we got the diagnosis, you were medicated, and everything went back to normal. It literally felt like I have you back, and it just further proved that it is a disorder that is treatable, you know, and now, if you ever have a manic episode again, I'm not scared one bit that you might maybe be a new person now, or that you might be an asshole now. No, I know you're not. I know that everything can go back to normal. I know that somewhere inside you, there is still the person I fell in love with, that I love so deeply. And it's worth fighting for, because I know it's there. And it's just the very nature of the disorder that you are mean to me or whatever. and I know I can not take that personally, everything you say. And that's so relieving.
Yeah, and I would love to say that next time I will not be that way, but of course I cannot promise for it because it's so out of my control. That's also the scary part of it, just it feels out of control. Like I feel out of control over this illness. And I think that's something I just still need to learn myself, how to feel in control of that and how to deal with it.
Yeah, and that's okay, and I think that's a long journey, and we're doing that together. Literally, we're doing that together. I think we still have a long journey in front of us because we were talking about a 6-month period since December. So you literally just got diagnosed 2 months ago. So everything's back to normal, stable, or feels stable. Literally for the last 2 months. And I have read that it is quite usual for people to try multiple medications before they find the one that actually works for them, for their specific experience with bipolar
I'm already
disorder.
finding one of my medications being a bit hard on me in terms of
and despite
my daily functioning.
Despite of being discouraged by that, even though I understand how discouraging that must feel, or I don't understand, but I can imagine. It is the process, and this is normal. We just have to, you and your psychiatrist have to find the right medication that works for you, and it might take years until you find the right thing that works for you.
That keeps me stable.
And that's okay. That's okay. Because I'm here for the ride, and you got this. And
a roller coaster.
I think there's going to be still scary moments in front of us, because if you exchange medication, there's also going to be periods where you're unmedicated, right? Or like, what is this medication doing to you? Because they're literally influencing your mood. That's scary. But whatever happens, we know at least what it is. And that's due to all the research we did, due to the doctor pointing us the right way, due to your psychiatrist finally
Yeah.
giving us.
But also all the hours of podcasts we listen to.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Because when we first heard that you might have bipolar disorder,
Yeah.
we, of course, tried everything to research as much as we could about bipolar disorder, because in a few months you might get the diagnosis of that.
Yeah,
so we want to know
Let's see what it is.
what we're dealing with. Yeah. And one of the resources we found was a podcast called Inside Bipolar by Dr. Nicole Washington and Gabe Howard. Gabe Howard being a person who experiences bipolar disorder himself, who has bipolar disorder himself, and Dr. Nicole Washington being a board certified psychiatrist. And if I tell you, this is such a valuable resource for people who just enter the game.
Yeah,
like
for people who have bipolar and for the loved ones.
Yeah, if you know someone who has bipolar disorder, or if you just freshly got diagnosed yourself, or not freshly got diagnosed, lol, if you just have bipolar disorder and want to feel less alone, find the podcast on Spotify, Inside Bipolar. It was a blessing to us.
Yeah.
Because they don't only talk about the hands-on experience of bipolar disorder, which, but also talk about, I don't know, bipolar disorder and love, bipolar disorder and PTSD, bipolar disorder and other aspects of normal life. And it's so refreshing because it's such a realistic angle, because of Gabe being a person who has it, and Dr. Nicole.
But also being a public speaker.
And
so
also, yes, so he knows how to word things. It's really nice to listen to him. And to them both, because I really appreciate Dr. Nicole's wisdom and experience on the topic from a medical point of view. Really, really big shout out. Thank you so much. You helped us immensely.
If you happen to listen to this.
Yes. If you happen to listen to this, you helped us immensely. Thank you for existing and doing your work. So that all being said, it was a journey.
It was a journey, and it's still going to be a journey.
It is still going to be a journey, as I said, and I'm here for it. Just as an explanation, what has happened in the last year, why we suddenly disappeared from social media, why we were not interactive anymore. Also, literally also stopped interacting with friends, with family, really, because it was so draining.
It was a very isolating experience for me and for yourself as well.
Yeah, and then also suddenly the work coming in, and so much work and exciting work that you want to devote your whole attention to, and I did, or tried to. It was just a lot. Yeah. But now we feel like we got it again.
Yeah.
Like we're in a stable point of our life again, and that's why we're doing that step, doing this podcast, which we had planned for over a year. Yeah. We had all the concept, everything. We had it already. We just wanted to start recording, but we needed to stop. So we're back at it. We're back creating stuff. You're writing, apart from being actors, Dorian is also a writer. Yeah.
I'm working on 3 scripts at the same time. You're also working on a bunch of things.
Yes, we both found writing again. We have the capacity for that again. You're stable with your job. We have creative outlets. So there's actually, now we're back in the game. There's a lot coming, or that we're working on, that we want to do. Short films, shows.
The production company that's still in the makes.
It's still it's still in the making. We still have a production company planned. And all that is something that you can look forward to. But before that, you can definitely count on every week an episode of Dorian and Raphael talking about whatever interests them. Next week with maybe more of a focus to the future rather than
in the past,
looking to the past, because I think we worry too much about the past. Let's just focus on things that are happening right now.
That's nice. Nice.
So if you like that episode, make sure to tell us that, because we literally have the first episode. We don't know what you like. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to DM us on TikTok and Instagram on the Don't Scream I'll Cry accounts. We will check those. It is going to be a bit difficult to see and read your comments on our direct messages on our private accounts, but feel free to text the Don't Scream I'll Cry podcast accounts and leave comments.
Tell us what you'd like to see.
Yes, let us know what you'd like to see.
What you liked, what you didn't like.
Yes, and maybe we'll even feature some of your ideas, just because we want to create an interactive space as well. So if you have any thoughts, we're happy to read them out and talk about them as well. But for now, that's about it. Make sure
I'm just going to say, I allowed him to talk and to wrap it up, because I am not a podcast listener.
Right.
So don't think that he's like interrupting me and rudely taking space.
Yeah, he asked me to take the...
I asked him to do it.
Yeah, just as a fun fact, Dorian is starting a podcast, but doesn't actually listen to podcasts.
The only podcast I actually listened to was Inside Bipolar.
Right.
Yeah.
So he asked me to do the intro and do the outro.
At least for now.
For now.
Maybe in a few episodes
You will
I'll do
see
it.
in a few episodes he'll be better at that. I will force him to. But yeah, make sure to follow us on all the accounts on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, just so you never miss an episode and never miss news and announcements. Until then, we wish you a very, very good week, and we hope to see you again next week. Same time, same space, same little cozy little man cave. I said it now.
Nice.
It is a man cave. Yeah, until then, have a good week, and I'll see you then.
Don't scream, I'll cry.
Don't scream, I'll cry.